for, I think we're ready to ride.
What's up guys, today I'll share my top tips for creating cinematic footage with the DJI Mini 4 Pro. This drone is actually super capable and you can extract a lot out of it as long as you follow some very simple basic guidelines which I'll share with you today, and hopefully by the end of the video you will have learned something new that you can apply for yourself and get some epic footage yourself as well. Let's get started. Just like any other camera, this drone relies heavily on good lighting. So if you want to avoid grainy footage, it's always best to follow two main principles. Shoot in the lowest ISO setting possible, which is 100 on this drone, and pick the right time of the day to shoot with your drone. That's not very easy to follow as we all know, some destinations just are harder to reach, they take time to get to, and by the time you arrive at your location, it might be noon when the sun is the highest in the sky and creates those shadows that are not super appealing in the footage. However, I wouldn't advise you to worry too much about this because it's just how things go. Sometimes you cannot plan things to be at your location during sunrise or during sunset. You have to work with what you have. So of course it's best, it's ideal if you can be there during the golden hour, just after sunrise or just before sunset, but I wouldn't sweat it too much in case you're not there by that time. Even at noon you can still create some fantastic footage. You just need to properly select the right perspective where the sun is hitting your target properly so you don't get those super harsh shadows. And even if you get them, sometimes they can work in your favor, to your advantage. So like I said, lighting is very important, but don't sweat it too much if you cannot be at your location during sunrise or during sunset. I'm still capturing most of my footage during noon or early afternoon. That's just how things are. If you're traveling from one location to another, it just takes time. So just make sure you're using the lowest ISO possible so you can avoid grain, or even if you're shooting at dusk, for example, don't go to ISO over 800 on this drone. I think it's going to be ideal to keep it under 800, or if you really need to shoot with high ISO during nighttime, for example, make sure you use night mode, which will significantly reduce the amount of noise you have in your footage, and that will produce better looking videos. If you want to extract the most out of your drone, make sure you select the flattest color profile that it has, which in this case is D-Log M. This will make sure that you will retain the most amount of data in your footage, which will not be baked in as opposed to what you get with normal color profile on this drone, but it will be retained in your footage so you can color grade your footage in post, and that will give you a lot more flexibility to color grade your footage the way you want it to look. You can adjust a lot more parameters such as the highlights or the shadows. You can bring back some details which will not be possible if you shoot in normal color profile. Now there's one more reason why you need to film in D-Log M on the Mini 4 Pro, and that is because if you're shooting in D-Log M, you will be shooting in 10-bit, and 10-bit basically means that your camera sees a lot more colors as opposed to the normal color profile, which uses 8-bit. And 8-bit only uses 16 million colors, and I believe 10-bit uses a billion colors or something like that. There's a drastic difference between 8-bit and 10-bit, and you will see that difference if you start color grading your 8-bit footage. You might see some bending that is not pleasant to look at. That's just because the camera cannot differentiate between that many colors, so it cannot do that gradient between the colors smoothly. But if you do it in 10-bit, you will have a lot smoother, a lot better looking footage because the camera sees a lot more colors and it can apply them to your footage without creating any bending or missing any details. Now the next tip that I have for you is to always use ND filters on this drone. That goes pretty much for any camera that you have. It's good to have ND filters because that will make sure that they will reduce the shutter speed that you're using, and the lower shutter speed will make sure that you have a more natural motion blur in your footage. making it a little bit better looking, more smoother and more appealing to the human eye because it's more natural to what we normally see in our daily lives. As you can see, I currently have an ND16 filter on my drone. It's pretty much always there, but for some situations you need something a little bit higher, especially because of the fact that this drone uses a very wide aperture of f1.7. So if you're shooting in bright sunny conditions, you might need an ND32 or ND64. Now, unfortunately, DJI is selling a ND filter kit which only comes with ND16, ND64 and ND256. They don't have the 32, which is the filter that I need the most, but luckily Freewell has come out with a brand new package that has 16 filters inside, which will cover pretty much all of your needs. So I will link this kit in the description because it's super useful to have. You have all sorts of different filters ranging from ND16 to ND1000, which is an amazing filter to use if you want to capture long exposure photography, for example, with your drone. You have some CPL filters, UV filters, light pollution filters that can be super handy to have during nighttime to eliminate some light pollution from your footage. And of course you have NDPL filters, which are polarized filters that are going to properly expose your footage. If you are shooting, for example, a landscape, they will retain a lot more information in the sky without blowing it out. The next tip that I have for you is to keep it simple, especially if you're a beginner still. It's extremely important to keep it simple, keep it smooth and steady, as opposed to trying to replicate something that you've been influenced by another pilot that is a lot more advanced, who has been doing it for years and years and years and has a lot of practice. If you still don't have that much practice and you are starting out with this drone, you might want to pick like 5 moves that you want to master and practice those the most and try to be as smooth as possible on the sticks to have a better looking footage in the end. I keep seeing people that post footage that is just very jittery, very sharp, with sharp movements and not very pleasant to look at. So instead of doing that, I would advise you to pick a direction, make the drone go in that direction, then maybe pick another angle, make a small circle or semicircle. Just pick a couple of maneuvers and stick to those, because nothing speaks about your inability to be smooth as those, you know, just jittery shots that are not pleasant to look at and you are turning away your viewer immediately. So try to be smooth and pick 5 moves to always do when you shoot. Now, if you still want to capture something a little bit more interesting, for example, take advantage of what the drone can give you. And by that, I mean use waypoints, use intelligent flight modes, use something that the drone can do for you. And waypoints, in my opinion, is one of the biggest things that are going to help you, because waypoints is extremely advanced technique that can produce some super complex shots with a press of a button. If you take the time to learn waypoints, you can create some masterpiece shots that otherwise you wouldn't be able to replicate, and you can do them over and over and over again. If you save that waypoint mission, you can replicate it every single time. My next tip is for the editing portion of your video, and first you need to figure out the pace of your video. Nobody wants to sit around and watch a 3-minute video with 4 different shots inside. So if you want to have your viewers' attention, which we all do, we need to make sure that we are setting the pace right and we have a nice flowing footage that is just, you know, building anticipation, and the viewer does not want to keep their look away from the footage because they are interested in what you have to show them. I personally like to keep my videos short, around 2 minutes, for example. Even 2 minutes is kind of long at some point, depending on what type of footage you are posting, but I want to keep my viewers engaged and I want them to look at what I have to show them. So in many situations, you will see that a couple of seconds are enough to showcase what you have shot. And even in commercials, for example, or movies, depending on what type of genre they are, but for the most part, those cuts, they never take more than 3, 4, 5 seconds. So you need to kind of take some advice from the pros out there and keep your cuts pretty much the same length, no more than 5 seconds, because then the attention span is starting to drop and you're losing the attention of your viewer, making them click away. So keep it sweet, keep it short, and have a lot of pace, a lot of variety, and kind of think about the type of emotion you are trying to evoke. And speaking about emotion, make sure you always choose the right music that will go well with the type of emotion you're trying to evoke. It's not nice to pick a rock song while showcasing slow-paced footage that has nothing to do with the rhythm of the music, for example. So you need to figure out what type of music will go well for the footage that you have. It's really individual. It's really up to you as an artist or a creator to pick that style that you have and go with it depending on what type of emotion you're trying to evoke. But make sure you set the right tone by using the right music. And finally, when talking about artistry and creativity, color grading should also not be neglected. You can always apply your own style to the footage that you're color grading, whether that's a little bit more orange and teal or a little bit more, different types of vibes created by desaturating the footage or saturating it a little bit more. Now, I'm personally coming into my new style that I've recently really started enjoying, and that is more lively, vibrant, punchy, and contrasty tones that are more realistic as opposed to what I usually really liked before, which was more interesting tones that are a little bit more creative but are not as natural. They were kind of like different world, but now I'm into more realistic tones that are a little bit more closer to what we actually see with our own eyes. I prefer to keep it more natural in that way. Currently, that's my current type of preference for my drone footage, but it's always nice to explore different opportunities, different colors, different LUTs, for example. It's always nice to check out different styles and see which one just applies to your liking the most. As usual, I will link my own LUTs that I'm using for my Mini 4 Pro, my Air 3, my Mavic 3 footage, all the drone footage that I have different LUTs for it. So I'll link it down below in my own store. You can check it out. You can see whether that's something that interests you or not. But with that being said, that's everything I have for you in today's video. I hope I was able to kind of give you my own thoughts when it comes to how I create my Mini 4 Pro footage. Hopefully that was helpful and informative for you. If it was, please don't hesitate to drop me a like and a comment below. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one. This is Mike from Drone Supremacy. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.